August 1947, Cheyenne, Wyoming, the Frontier Saloon, Cary Avenue. The fight has been building since yesterday. This is not a metaphor. The fight between Danny Kowalski and Art Ellison began the previous afternoon at the stockyards, where Art's father, who owns the butcher shop on 16th Street, accused Danny's boss, who runs the cattle operation on the north end of the valley, of undercutting the agreed price on a load of beef. The accusation was made in front of 6 other men, which meant it was not just an accusation, but a position. And positions made in front of 6 men require responses. And the response that Danny felt his boss deserved, Danny having been with the operation for 4 years and feeling that his boss's honor was something he had a professional stake in, was not a response his boss felt it necessary to make himself. So Danny made it. Not at the stockyards, at the Frontier Saloon at 7 in the evening, when Art Ellison came in with 2 of his friends from the packing house and sat at the bar and said something that the man next to him heard and passed along the bar the way things pass along bars. And the something that was said was about the cattle operation and about Danny's boss, and about the kind of man who undercuts a price and then sends someone else to answer for it. The evening before had ended with Danny and Art being separated by the bartender and by the 2 friends from the packing house, and by the general sense that this was not yet the night for it. This is the night for it. Roy Rogers is in Cheyenne because the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo begins in 3 days. He is performing, singing, a roping demonstration, the kind of appearance that Frontier Days attracts and that Roy Rogers provides every few years because Frontier Days is the largest outdoor rodeo in the world. And some things are worth doing because they are the largest outdoor rodeo in the world. He arrived this afternoon. He has been to the venue, done the initial meetings with the organizers, walked the grounds. He is at liberty until tomorrow morning. At 9 in the evening, he is walking back to the Plains Hotel on Central Avenue from a dinner at a restaurant on 16th Street that someone recommended, and he passes the Frontier Saloon on Cary Avenue, and the sounds coming from the Frontier Saloon are the particular sounds a bar makes when it is in the process of organizing itself around a fight. The particular frequency of voices that has a different quality from regular bar conversation, not louder exactly, more focused. The way the sound of a room changes when the room decides to become an audience. He stops on the sidewalk. He listens for 3 seconds. He pushes open the door. The room is arranged the way rooms arrange themselves for fights. The bar runs along the left wall, the bottles in the mirror behind it. The bartender at the far end with his hands flat on the bar surface and the expression of a man who has seen this before and is waiting to see how bad it gets before he intervenes. The tables have been pushed back by the people sitting at them to give the center of the room more space, not deliberately but collectively, the way crowds give space to things that are about to happen. The pool table in the back corner has 2 men sitting on its edge who have stopped their game to watch. Danny Kowalski is 24 years old, stocky, wearing the clothes he wore to the stockyards yesterday and has been wearing since because he did not go home last night. He has a glass in his right hand that is not doing any work right now, and that he is holding the way a man holds something when his hands need to be occupied, but his attention is elsewhere. Art Ellison is 26, taller, the butcher's son, wearing a cleaner shirt. He is standing at the bar with his back to it, facing the room, which is the position of a man who has decided that this room is going to see what he does. Between them is about 10 feet of Frontier Saloon floor. Neither of them is moving. They are in the particular suspended moment of a bar fight before it starts. Both of them past the point of backing down. Neither of them quite at the point of going. The room holding its breath in the specific way rooms hold their breath, when what comes next is going to be physical, and something in everyone present knows it. Roy Rogers comes through the door. He looks at the room. Nobody says anything. In the films, when Roy Rogers walks into a room, someone always says something. The bad man says something that establishes he is the bad man. The good man says something that establishes he is the good man. The crowd says something that establishes the crowd. The dialogue arrives at the moment of tension and names the tension so the audience knows what they are watching. In the Frontier Saloon on Cary Avenue at 9 in the evening on a Tuesday in August, nobody says anything. What happens is this. Roy Rogers walks to the nearest empty table, pulls out a chair, and sits down. He puts his hat on the table. He folds his hands on the table. He looks at the bar. He waits. The room does not know what to do with this. The room has been in the process of organizing itself for a fight, and the thing it has organized itself for has not happened. And a man has come in and sat down at a table and put his hat on the table and is looking at the bar. And the man is Roy Rogers, which the room has also noticed. And the combination of these facts does not resolve into anything the room knows how to process. Danny Kowalski is the first one who notices Roy Rogers because Danny is facing the door. His eyes go from Art Ellison to the door and back to Art Ellison and back to the door. And the third time they go back to the door, they stay there for a moment, and something happens in his face that is the internal rearrangement of a man who was about to do one thing and has encountered an obstacle that is not physical. Art Ellison notices a moment later because someone at the bar near him says something quietly, and Art turns and looks. The 10 feet of Frontier Saloon floor between them remains. Neither of them has moved. Roy Rogers says to nobody in particular, looking at the bar, "Is there coffee?" The bartender says, "Yes, sir." Roy Rogers says, "I'll take a cup, thank you." The bartender gets the coffee. The room does not know what to do with this either. It is still organized for a fight. The tables are still pushed back. The two men on the pool table edge are still watching. The crowd is still a crowd in the specific mode of a crowd waiting for something. But the something has been interrupted by a man sitting down and ordering coffee, and the interruption has lasted long enough that the something's momentum has shifted. Danny Kowalski sets his glass on the bar. He does not set it down deliberately or with statement. He just sets it down, the way you set something down when you are no longer sure you need to be holding it. Art Ellison turns back to the bar. He says something to the man beside him, quietly. The man beside him says something back. Art Ellison picks up his drink. Roy Rogers drinks his coffee. Nothing happens for 8 minutes. This is, in bar fight terms, the equivalent of a weather system passing. 8 minutes is long enough that the specific gravity of the confrontation, the energy that has been building since the stockyards, since the accusation, since the evening before, loses its critical mass. The crowd, which was a crowd organized around an event, becomes again the ordinary crowd of a bar on a Tuesday evening in August in Cheyenne. The tables that were pushed back are gradually reclaimed by their occupants. The two men on the pool table edge go back to their game. Danny Kowalski moves to a table in the corner. Art Ellison stays at the bar. They are at opposite ends of the room, and neither of them is looking at the other. Roy Rogers finishes his coffee. He puts his hat back on. He stands up. The bartender comes over with the check. Roy Rogers pays it. He leaves a tip. He nods at the bartender. He walks to the door. He stops. He does not turn around. He says to the room, without identifying anyone specifically, "The stockyards argument is about 3 cents a pound. It's not worth the rest of it." He goes out. The door closes. Danny Kowalski sits in the corner for another 20 minutes. He thinks about the 3 cents a pound. He thinks about the fight that did not happen, and what would have happened if it had, and whether what would have happened was worth the 3 cents a pound. And the answer to this question which is obvious when stated plainly, has been not obvious for the last 24 hours because the 3 cents a pound was surrounded by other things. The accusation at the stockyards, the in front of 6 men nature of it, the sense of obligation he felt toward his boss and that his boss had not asked for and perhaps did not want, that made the 3 cents a pound seem like something else. A man sat down at a table and ordered coffee and named the thing plainly, 3 cents a pound. Danny goes home at 10:30. He goes to bed. Art Ellison stays at the bar until closing. He drinks 2 more whiskeys and talks to the man beside him about the rodeo that is coming, which is something everyone in Cheyenne talks about in the last week of July and the first days of August, because Frontier Days is the largest outdoor rodeo in the world, and it is 3 days away, and it belongs to the city in the way that a thing belongs to a city when the city has been doing it since 1897. He does not think about Danny Kowalski. He thinks about the rodeo. He goes home at midnight. He goes to bed. The fight does not happen. 3 weeks later, Danny's boss and Art Ellison's father settle the price dispute through their respective attorneys, which is how price disputes between a cattle operation and a butcher shop should be settled and would have been settled regardless of what happened at the Frontier Saloon, the attorneys having been involved since Thursday. Danny Kowalski works for the same operation for another 11 years, until 1958, when he saves enough to buy his own small herd in the Laramie Valley. Art Ellison takes over his father's butcher shop in 1953. They are not friends. They are not enemies. They are 2 men in the same industry in the same region who nod at each other when they see each other and have never discussed the Frontier Saloon. The bartender at the Frontier Saloon tells the story for years. He tells it to anyone who will listen, and some people who won't. Roy Rogers came in and sat down and ordered coffee, and the fight didn't happen. People ask why. He says, because a man sat down. People say, but why did that stop it? The bartender thinks about this. He says, I've been trying to work that out for 20 years. He says, I think it's because you can't have a fight when someone is sitting down watching. Not because of who he was, because of how he sat, he says, like he was waiting for something else to happen, like the fight wasn't the only option and he knew it and was going to sit there until everyone else knew it too. He says, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I've never seen anything stop a fight that was that close to starting. He says, he didn't say anything until he left. He just sat there and drank his coffee. He says, it was the coffee that did it, if you want my opinion. Roy Rogers performs at Cheyenne Frontier Days beginning Thursday. He sings 4 songs and does the roping demonstration, and the crowd is what Cheyenne Frontier Days crowds always are, large, attentive, giving him the warm and specific welcome that belongs to a city that has been doing this since 1897 and takes its Western identity as seriously as any city in America takes anything. He does not mention the Frontier Saloon in any of his public remarks. He does not think of it as a thing worth remarking on publicly or privately. He had coffee. The fight did not happen. He walked back to the Plains Hotel and went to sleep without particular trouble because he is a man who does not carry the afternoon's business into the evening when the afternoon's business is complete. The coffee cost 15 cents. He left a 25-cent tip because the bartender had handled the situation with the particular steadiness of a man who had seen the thing about to happen and had not panicked and had served the coffee without making more of it than it was, which Roy Rogers considers a skill. It was the best 40 cents he spent in Cheyenne. He has never talked about it. The bartender has talked about it for 30 years. That seems about right. If this story reached you, drop your state in the comments.
A new king of the Cowboys story every day. Because they still make men like him. You just have to know where to look.